Guys, I was completely wrong about Kadena. I couldn't find the white paper, guys. Got him. Yo, what up YouTube? You guys ready to dive into it today? Kadena price predictions. I want to talk about the Kadena Vortex effects. And I want to go back through my previous videos where I discussed Kadena and I show you guys exactly how things were going to play out, because being a layer 1 proof of work blockchain with this much utility and adding this much value to the crypto space, it's really impossible for this coin to not go to the effing moon. So let's dive in, guys. And so if you haven't saw my videos, if you just come over here and type in Ryan Matta, Kadena Vortex. So in this video, I walked you guys through exactly how things were going to play out. So I want to make sure that everybody realizes when I was saying these things and I was teaching all this, I was teaching this on October 25th. And on October 25th, it looked like Kadena had hit a price point of like, maybe it looks like right about $7 up there. And then I was calling like the retrace targets down. I was like, if you get a chance to get into this coin between $4.59 and it, gosh forbid, $3.49, like that's the holy grail. So it was 2 months ago when I had no clue what Kadena even was. I found this coin, I found it trending, and I was just so like, okay, everything's a layer 1 blockchain, everything's infinitely scalable, everybody claims A, B, and C, right? So in this video, it looks like Kadena had hit a price point. It wasn't even done on this pump, honestly. It really wasn't. It was still on its way up on that push to the upside. And I was calling for a price point on the next push up to 290 something. Let's see, to 293. It was at a price point of $1.55. I did not buy. I said it was gonna go up to looks like 293 on that next pump up. And these were my predictions for Kadena. So I was saying 550 by the end of 2021, right? 3150 by 2022. So that would have been my goal by the 1st of 2022. I was saying 3150. And I always try to like keep it super real for you guys. Like I didn't understand the tech. I wasn't gonna overshill this coin. I had no idea about it, but I wanted to invite their team onto the show so I could actually learn and educate myself, because I'm special ed dyslexic. It's so complicated and blockchain technology is so advanced. If you're just watching other people's YouTube videos and not hearing it directly from the source, sometimes, you know, you're only getting half the picture or a little bit of it. So I wanted to show you guys that I've really done my research on Kadena. So that was my first price prediction video 2 months ago. I didn't buy, but I was doing my research, right? Then the Kadena team reached out, Doug reached out, and this was on September 30th. So this was 50 days ago. So it was 50 days ago that I interviewed Doug. In my interview with Doug in the beginning, completely separate from the Kadena interview, I made some price predictions, and I was saying that, you know, from a price point of $1.55, you know, that would be the buying opportunity of a lifetime. And I came over here, exactly right here. So after I had Doug onto the show, I wanted to come back and do another price prediction video. So this was when it was pushing up here. It hit 253, and I called this retrace down right here, all the way down to $1.43, right? Like that was my price predictions. That was me calling this coin out. And I was like, and I was actually editing my own video, this interview with Doug. I just got it back from my editor. So I was just going through and like picking out the pieces that I still needed to trim out myself. And I was just watching my own video and I didn't own any Kadena yet. So I put out 2 videos for you guys before I owned any Kadena. And it was literally when I was sitting there watching my own interview, I was like, if I don't buy into this coin right now and I miss out on the opportunity of a lifetime and this really becomes the next Ethereum, I am going to, you know, I just regret it, man. Like how, so I went really big at $1.43. I think I actually got into $1.38 or 39, $1.43, $1.57, more at $1.89, and then it pushed up to the next leg. And then when it made that next push up, then when it started to make its next push up towards 3 or 4, that is when I had Stuart on the show. So on October 22nd, I want to say the price of Kadena was maybe, okay, again. So then I have Stuart over on the show and I put out that video for you guys. And then it was like right after that when I was like, okay, like I'm sitting on the next Ethereum. This is the holy grail. So again, to try to help show you guys that I wasn't just shilling, that I'm putting my money where my mouth is, after I put out that video for you guys, 3 weeks ago, this one crypto will change your life. So I came over here, put out this video and said, hey guys, guess what I'm doing? I'm selling Crow. I'm selling all of my Ethereum. I'm selling VeChain. I'm selling, and I got so much flack for this video because I sold $20,000 worth of Ethereum, Crow, all of these assets to buy more Kadena at $4. So now you guys can really see how this unfolded. I put this coin on your guys' radar when it was pumping up to like 2 something. I was calling it up to a peak. It actually went above the peak I was calling, but it came right down to the retrace targets. My retrace targets were like $1.50, $1.43, $1.38 or whatever. And it came down and hit all those 3 targets. And that's when I was sitting there, I got the video back from Doug and I was putting the video out and I was literally watching my own video going, man, I am going to kick myself so hard if I don't take action and buy this. So that's when I bought, I forget how much I bought, like $5,000 to $7,000 worth when it was like $1 something, like it was under $2. And then when it got up to $3.79, that's when I bought another $20,000 worth. And then when it got up to like $6.83 and everybody was posting and commenting like, oh, never buy a coin on the pump, never buy a coin on the pump. And I'm like, do you guys remember Solana going from 20, 40, 60, 80, and everybody kept telling me not to buy those pumps and I missed out on Solana like 4 times. Ended up getting into Solana at $75 and then again at 100 something and then again at like 200 was the highest I paid for Solana. So obviously I haven't lost money on Solana, and why I was willing to throw my money at Solana even at peak formation was because I seen what was happening. I seen how this vortex effect was taking place on Solana. We saw it how it took place on Avalanche. We've seen how it's taken place on Harmony. So this vortex effect is guaranteed to happen as long as the tech is there. So when we play this video from Michael Saylor, I'm gonna let you listen to what Michael Saylor says. And you're gonna be like, okay, everything that Michael Saylor says about Bitcoin and everything he says bad about altcoins, Kadena separates, right? Kadena has all of the same properties as far as Bitcoin. It just hasn't been approved by the SEC. But because Will used to work for the SEC and he founded Kadena, you would think that he probably made sure that he went above and beyond to be compliant in every way, shape, and form. And then you have Stuart Popejoy, who came from Chase Bank, no way in any way, shape, or form connected to Chase Bank, right? Now, maybe Chase Bank is investing into Kadena on their own. I don't know, but it's a layer 1 proof of work blockchain. Like anybody can invest in it. It would be in Chase's best interest to invest in it. But as far as being connected, being a part of the team, being like Chase Bank does not make any calls or dictate anything about what happens with Kadena. The community does. It's proof of work. It's not like Solana where somebody can just reset the blockchain whenever it stops working. It's completely different, guys. So super cool. Like I keep telling everyone when I hear them say like Kadena is banking, Kadena is Chase Bank. Well, obviously you want that type of experience on your team, right? Like when you're trying to run a business, you probably want somebody that has banking experience, you know, or accounting experience, right? Like all of those things become assets, not not something that actually hurts you or takes away from a project. So people that understand, that are big enough and have been in crypto a really long time, they see Kadena as a direct competitor because there's really no value proposition to building on any other network. There's no value proposition in waiting for Ethereum 2.0 to launch because Kadena is going to blow Ethereum 2.0 out of the water. And this isn't just saying anything bad. This is just coming from a guy that's been sitting here and been promised ETH 2.0, ETH 2.0, ETH 2.0. And what was like 3 weeks ago, they just pushed it back again. So at a certain date, the Ethereum proof of work blockchain is going to get so difficult, the difficulty is going to increase so much that you will literally be losing money to mine Ethereum. So what they're going to do is pretty much force all of the miners to turn off and transition over to proof of stake. So when that happens, it's going to be exciting because they're proof of stake. Then Ethereum 2.0 is no longer a competitor to Kadena because they can't infinitely scale. They can only scale up to so many transactions per second. And then once that happens, and we've seen with Solana, like you're not a proof of work. You don't have the ability to have your mempool like get completely overloaded like you can in, you know, proof of stake. Like Ethereum just keeps running no matter how backed up the network gets. Star Atlas launched, one video game broke Solana. Proof of stake, proof of work, you know? And don't quote me on 100% of that. Half the time I'm just winging it. So let's keep it real, guys.
Technologies that are dominating today, they're dominating because they're able to deliver force faster, harder, stronger, smarter. So if we ask the question, what is money? Money is the highest form of energy that human beings can channel. Bitcoin is channeling human ingenuity into making it better. And every commodity is channeling human energy into making it worse. The lowbrow or the historic colloquial term is hodl, right? Hold on for dear life, or just hodl or save, whatever. And the highbrow term would be adopt as a Treasury Reserve asset.
And 10 years ago, Michael actually wrote a book called The Mobile Wave that depicted many of the impacts that he saw, say, FANG stocks would have on the world. So Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google. He had laid out a case, an investment case largely for these companies and their dominance in the global marketplace. And clearly over the past 10 years, as we sit now in 2020, those stocks have been standout performers and have become, in many ways, the new dominant monopolies in the world today. So Michael has a very deep understanding of these topics that I think actually predisposed him to gaining a rapid understanding of Bitcoin.
I think that the most important point is that this is a technology investment. It's a technology. If you look at the most successful investments of the past 10 years, Facebook started from nothing and it dematerialized human relationships. It was a social network, and that meant that they channeled social energy onto a digital network for 1 billion plus people, and it's worth $1 trillion a day. Apple is a mobile network. What they did is they dematerialized mobile devices. They dematerialized your communications, your cameras, your videos, your documents, and it's worth a couple $1 trillion. Google is a $1 trillion business because it dematerialized information network, search network. So what's the theme with all these things? It's like, I want to give music to 5 billion people. I have to suck the music out of the CD, the record, the phonograph, the Steinway piano, the orchestra. And if I do that, I can give you a catalog of 50 million songs that cost $15 a month for the family plan. And for $3 a month, you can give infinite music to everybody on earth. And if I want to give everybody infinite free education to 5 billion people, I have to suck the information out of the books, out of the libraries, out of MIT, out of Harvard. And I do that with iBooks and YouTube. That's digital education. The other is digital music. Bitcoin is digital property. We are sucking the monetary energy out of houses and bars of gold and silver and bonds and stocks and collectibles and anything else that we monetized in the world. And it's, if I have $1 billion and I want to put it in gold money, I have 30,000 pounds of gold. And if I want to move 30,000 pounds of gold from New York to Tokyo, it's $5 million and it takes 3 months. And it's pretty obvious that if you leave all the money in the gold, you can't program it to be 1 million times faster and smarter, and you can't move it at the speed of light. So we have to dematerialize things to make progress in the 21st century. All of the $1 trillion networks all dematerialized something. Google, Apple, Amazon dematerialized every retail storefront. If you basically obliterated every retail store and you put it into software and put it in the palm of 1 billion people's hands, right? I'm not saying they obliterated the stuff they ship, but they obliterated the retail distribution channel. So Bitcoin is digital property. Here's the big idea. I want to give joy to 5 billion people. I give them digital music. I want to give education and information to 5 billion people. I give them digital books and I give them digital video. I want to give wealth to 5 billion people. I give them digital property. The future of the world is 5 billion people. They're already there, right? There's 5 or 6 billion mobile phones running Android or iOS. Even if you could buy property as real estate, you've got property tax. If you own $1 million of property in Florida, it's 2% property tax. In 30 years, you're losing your property. It couldn't be a simpler product. I have a Bitcoin. Well, what's the plan for next year? A Bitcoin. What's the plan for 100 years? A Bitcoin. Right. Well, what if you don't change it? I don't want to change it. You don't want to change it. What is it? It's a creature in cyberspace. It's like plankton. I've created the elemental container to hold monetary energy. What's the goal? To not lose your money. That's the goal. The value proposition of Bitcoin is it's digital property on an open, decentralized network given to the world. Nobody can control it. No one needs to improve it. It doesn't, all it needs to be is to exist. If you want a metaphor, like how do I see it? If you could go back 200 years and you could buy Manhattan, all of it, would you? Would it be a good investment? Mm-hmm. When would you sell it? What's the best time? Would you short it? Would you trade it? What's the best time to sell Manhattan? If your family owned it in the year 1800, when would you have wanted to sell Manhattan?
Right. The answer is never.
Never.
So previously, before I went full-time crypto, I was a controls engineer in the automotive industry. I used to go program at Ford all the time. If I started my own blockchain, Saying that Ford's associated with Ryan Mehta's blockchain because I worked at Ford is no different than saying Kadena is associated with Chase Bank because Stuart Popejoy used to work at Chase Bank. No, Chase Bank recruited Stuart Popejoy to build their blockchain. So Stuart Popejoy built JP Morgan Chase's first blockchain, and that's how he met Will at the SEC, and that's how they become friends, and that's how they launched the blockchain of the future, in my opinion. So you can see over here, I was saying that Kadena at a $16 price point. Obviously, last time I was making videos, it's like this coin just goes up and up and up so fast that, I can't keep up with it. But we know how price is calculated, right? So how market cap is calculated, it's supply times price equals market cap. Take the amount of coins in circulation, multiply it by the price, that gives us a market cap. Now, because Kadena is at $16, if we jump back over here to coin market cap, and we can see right now, 157 million, and we'll just round up. Because everybody's like, oh, they're putting a ton of coins in circulation, blah, 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 blah. Smack people sometimes, So we'll even round up for all the, oh, they're gonna have 1 billion coins. Yeah, in 2120 or 2170. So if we see the last Kadena mine, that means we solved global warming, we all got Neuralinks, or we have eternal life as a thing, we live in a metaverse. So we might not live on this earth, but we might live in a metaverse forever. So there is a possibility that we do see that last Kadena coin mine, not gonna lie. And market cap, so at 1922, the market cap is now $3 billion. And again, we'll even round up and overprice this one. So just say $20, supply at 158 million, boom, $3 billion market cap. So in order for this coin to 2x and go to 40, right, the market cap needs to double. So let's break that down. So for Kadena to 2x right now and go from 20 to 40, we would need to go from 3 billion to 6 billion. For this coin to 10x and go to $200 right now, the market cap would only need to be 30 billion. For it to 20x, 60 billion. For it to 100x, 300 billion. So if this layer 1 blockchain that's infinitely scalable, that has at least 1 to 10x in every category on Ethereum, in every way, shape, or form, and it could actually onboard. So you guys kind of get where I'm going with this right now. Like, Kadena could onboard every single project. When we talk about infinitely scalable and ZK rollups and layer 2 scaling solutions, we don't need them anymore. Like, everybody could just bridge to a Kadena and interact with Kadena inside the Kadena ecosystem. They could bring all of their projects and mainly run all of their projects. Like, gas free, guys. Because they have gas stations, because they've created a layer 1 blockchain that's infinitely scalable, the only purpose of having gas or using gas whatsoever, because it would be free, is because you need to prevent spam attacks from happening. You need to make it really kind of not worth it for people to spam. So whether that's transactions end up being under $1 or $1 or just above, like, that's what a transaction is going to cost. And that just prevents spamming of the network, or it would be free. But anytime the network gets congested, like why Ethereum gas prices go up, right? Because the network's just congested. Like, you can only fit so many transactions in a block. So once that block's full, all the transactions are just kind of sitting here in what's called a mempool. And all of those transactions want to go into the next block, but it's kind of first come, first serve, or you can pay to go above it. And that's where people, you'll see, like, they want their transactions now. They're running smart contracts and they call them instant loans. So I can find a protocol like Compound Protocol and Yearn Finance. I can go and write a loan that says, hey, I'm gonna borrow X amount of Ethereum from Yearn. I'm gonna take it over to Compound. I'm gonna sell it I'm gonna trade it on Compound because, the arbitrage is like X%. I'm gonna make 5%. And then I'm gonna take that profit and I'm gonna come back and pay the loan off instantly. They call them flash loans. You can do them in one click of a button, and you get really good borrowing rates on a flash loan because you pay it back instantly. So as long as your arbitrage bot can buy, transfer, sell, take profits, pay back a loan instantly, those are called instant loans. I think that's what they're called, instant loans or flash loans. And that's what DeFi allows people to do. You don't mind paying really expensive Ethereum gas fees if you're gonna make $5,000 off a transaction and you're gonna pay $1,000 in gas fees, that's fine. And that's why the Ethereum network keeps going up. It's not people like me and you that are buying 1 or 2 Ethereum or maybe mint some NFTs, helps, adds to the, outrageous prices of gas, but it's also these people that have these bots built and they're able to interact on Ethereum when gas fees don't really matter. Or it's people dropping NFTs and you want to support your favorite artist, which I kind of just don't get why anybody would be launching anything on Ethereum. Like, why would you want to make your community bury the burden of paying $200 in gas fees to support you? Because if your NFT product doesn't go the way you think it's going to do, or they don't get a rare, or they don't get an NFT that actually is worth much more than the gas fees, like, that just sucks. I would be so upset if I was supporting an artist and I paid a bunch of money for Ethereum gas fees and the NFT just didn't do anything. So check this out, guys. This is the Vortex effect that I was explaining to everybody. When I was making my price predictions, I was saying that at launch, here's the price. Beta, right? Mainnet launch, we got to that point. Kadena mainnet was live. They proved they were scalable. When I found the coin, they were right around like a 200 million or 150 million market cap, somewhere in this range. I said, because they have mining over the next couple of years, that's gonna bring 3 to 5 billion alone into the ecosystem. I said, each big exchange launch is gonna bring a billion, if not 2 to 3 billion, because Coinbase and Binance will bring quite a bit of money into the Kadena ecosystem. So we're gonna see bigger exchange launches. We haven't seen any big exchange launch since KuCoin. Crow didn't really do much, did it? But it still did a little, right? Now we're talking about DeFi, right? And I say 5 billion per DEX. So we know KDA is launching already. That's gonna be exciting. I said each big influencer, I underestimated, but maybe I didn't, because I said 250 million and Kadena was at about a $500 million market cap when Crypto RS started mentioning it. And then he did like 3 videos. So his videos alone, I bet you brought in over 750 million, if not a billion, because when only one influencer is talking about it, it's just not enough. It gets communities riled up, but it doesn't like take the network by storm. But when you get somebody as big as Crypto RS making videos on this coin, that, you know, I'm nobody, I only got 50,000 subscribers. So I just helped educate a few people that somehow helped get the word out, probably to people like Crypto RS, and then that's where the network attack takes place. Big news articles. I said $1 billion. We've seen a couple big news articles, so we got that, and that's just getting started, guys. And then once you start attracting those institutional investors, that's when we see the Ethereum. And how do you do that? By offering services that are higher value proposition than every other marketplace. So when we talk about this crypto vortex effect, we know Bitcoin's Bitcoin because it consumes energy, and people look at proof of work blockchains thinking that they're a bad thing. No, guys. In Nevada, AC units run from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and they draw massive amounts of energy. And they are ran in every house, every business, because it's 110. So in order to produce enough energy to run during the day, because it's super expensive to store energy, you lose 20% overnight pretty much. So in order to offset that load, because they have to produce enough to run during the day, but at night, everybody's AC units off, windows are probably open, lights are off, people are sleeping, because it gets chilly. Like, I mean, I was, so funny story. Me and Bree were shooting a music video for the DJ, the hotel lobby in Vegas. And I'm super passionate about like getting up early, going and shooting a sunrise. And I know we had to be on set at like 11. Well, it just so happened where we were shooting was like out in the middle of nowhere in this desert area. I call it like Lake Mead or something, or Lake Need or something. It's a big dried up lake in Nevada and it backs right up to the mountains. So I was like, cool, we just get an Uber driver. We'll have him drop us off there. It's like it's probably like 4:35 in the morning, like dust just coming up, just enough to where you could see like driver still had to have his lights on. So we're just kind of like driving, and you hit like our Uber driver was like legit having to take us off-roading to get us back to this valley. So we get dropped off, and thank gosh we had Bree's suitcase like with her clothes, because we were doing photo shoots for like Fashion Nova and Pretty Little Things. We were gonna do like a bunch of like try-on hauls out in the desert and get the drones up flying, but I wanted to shoot sunrise really bad. So we get dropped off there at like 5 something in the morning, and no idea it went down in the 30s in the deserts. I mean, it was so hot at night the day before. It was probably like in the 90s. Like, I mean, like I couldn't even be outside in a t-shirt and I was like sweating balls. So I'm like, okay, you know, have a hoodie and some jeans on. Like, it was a little bit chilly in the hotel. I didn't know when you're like in the valley of a desert, how freaking cold it got. We were lucky that whoever was there before us, they must have been having like a bonfire out in this desert. There was just some like amber coals that were still like, you could take a stick and like move around, the coals were still hot. But I'm in the middle of the desert, and like the closest mountain's probably like 500 feet away, but I can't really see. I can see like the tip of the mountain in the dark. And when we got dropped off out there, it was so freaking cold that if I didn't find this fire, like me and Bree would have been out there like naked, like cuddling together, trying to like survive, because like I couldn't feel my hands in a few minutes. It was so freaking cold out there, and you're in the middle of a desert, like mountains, but like the wind was like coming between them. Like I ended up finding like an old 2x4 that was like so cemented into like the dirt, right? You know, it was like petrified. And I ended up getting this. We had our McDonald's coffee, so I was able to like burn the cup and like get the fire going. If I didn't find that fire, I would have froze. So when I say that they don't need AC units at night, I mean that they don't need AC units at night. So you have this massive consumer of energy. That's like, I mean, it's mind blowing, right? When you're consuming energy, you're seeing people like Marathon DTE building Bitcoin mining rigs on semi trucks. Like the trailer itself is the mining rig, so that they can pull them to anywhere they want. So in summer, when Nevada needs to offset that intermittent energy load, boom, Bitcoin miners come in and bam. And then when they're not running there, then they go down to Texas because Texas has renewable energy and they have extra whatever. Or maybe they're starting to ship them up to Antarctica because we can get massive amounts of solar energy up in Antarctica. Like, I don't know, guys, but I know that you can incentivize your miners to go green, but Bitcoin just can do that by like political means. Kadena actually has the ability by using the Kadena Foundation to incentivize miners to move to certain areas of the globe that run off renewable energy, and they can reward them handsomely to do so. So they don't have to just say, hey, our miners are gonna mine green. We're gonna say, hey, if you don't mine to this area, the hash power of the network, because you're paying for electricity or paying for dirty coal energy, you're gonna get pushed out of the network. Bitcoin doesn't have the ability to do that. Now, as far as technology goes, they become a huge consumer of semiconductors because of the ASIC miners. Kadena does the same thing, but Kadena is going to do it on a level above because they're newer, and Bitcoin mining stops in 14 years. In 14 years, 99% of all Bitcoin is going to be mined. So then you're just going to be dependent on the network fees, which we've seen Uniswap kind of do with proof of stake. So it's definitely doable, but that means that Kadena miners are going to be able to mine till 2120 to 2170. So if you're somebody that's looking to, start a long-term mining infrastructure, you're going to want to make sure that you're going in down the Kadena rabbit hole 8 years from now. So for the next 8 years, Bitcoin mining and technology is still going to dominate. But as we start moving forward and start getting closer to that switch, so where I was going, if I was looking to mine, I would be putting a majority of my money, or at least half my resources, into going half Bitcoin, half Kadena right now. And you're going to see that. And what that does, being that big of a consumer of energy and technology, those sectors control the politicians. They lobby the politicians. We already see several DeSantos, and we see Ted Cruz now really gunning to be pro-crypto. Because when you are pro-crypto, you look right, because crypto is going to continue to evolve. It doesn't inflate. It's not inflationary like the dollar, where it does have a small inflation rate, but that inflation rate is so minute compared to how much money our government is printing. As soon as more politicians start going pro-crypto, it's just going to be a no-brainer, because the United States is at a point where they just keep printing money. They just printed another $1.7 trillion to put in the market. Because once our government starts printing money, guys, it's done. Like I keep trying to tell everybody, like, it takes YouTube 51 days to pay me. I do work for 30 days, the month ends, they initiate my payment, but they got to make sure like transactions and everything and ads were finished running and charging the customers right. So then I get my cut, but I don't get my cut until the 21st of the month. So starting 1st to the 30th, wait, my check comes by the 21st. That 51-day period with inflation at 6.7, quote unquote, the government numbers, which they changed like 3 months ago because they were getting too high. So they changed how they calculate inflation to keep the numbers down, which is total kind of effed up. I'm losing like 15% of my paycheck before I even get it. YouTube were to pay me in Bitcoin, when I would get my paycheck, at the least probably 2%, with some volatility, maybe a little bit less. But if I just held on to that same Bitcoin within a month, I would not be down 15%, I would be up even more. Where cash in the bank, if I hold that cash in the bank, I am losing 5, 10, 15% a month, and now it's compounding. So now it's getting worse and worse and worse.
Well, let's start with this. Prices have gone up.
Prices surging more than they have in 30 years.
The cost for just about everything is trending higher. The consumer price index spiking 6.2%.
Our experts believe, and the data shows, that most of the price increases we've seen were expected and are expected to be temporary.
I mean, it's not that hard to understand when Dana said you pump $10 trillion into the economy.
If you think about inflation, it is what is driving financial returns for majority of the people that are making money in the market today. Now, as we talked about yesterday, the CPI number hit 5.4% in June. That's the highest it's been in 13 years. We are at historic rates of inflation during most people's lifetime. The White House is smarter than you think. Inflation is raging at the highest levels we've seen in years. CPI officially is being reported at 5.4%. That's the highest that CPI has been in 13 years. What that means is you have to increase the amount of money that you are making by 4 to 5% simply to keep up with inflation. That is the only way that you can protect your purchasing power. But now we have seen that the House of Representatives, your elected leader, are deciding that they are going to raise the maximum annual salary for their staff to $199,300. That's right, the staff for the House of Representatives, the maximum they can make now is $700 below 200 grand. So what that tells you is that the House of Representatives, your elected leaders, the same people who are telling you, listen to the economists, don't worry about inflation, this is transitory. have chosen to increase the pay of their own staffers by about 14%. Chipotle, you're an hourly worker, you get 3 or 4% raise. You work at an investment bank like a BlackRock, you get 8%. But you work for the government, you get a 14% raise. And so what we are seeing is the classic. Don't listen to what they're saying, watch what they're doing. We have breaking news. The New York Federal Reserve just came out with revised inflation expectations. What are we thinking? The New York Federal Reserve now sees inflation still above 5% 1 year from today. They believe 3 years from today, on a percent basis, it'll be over 4%, and a series high with large expected price rises in food, rent, and medical costs. The 3 main things you spend money on. So basically everything you spend money on is gonna go up. Here's the craziest part. If inflation is still above 5% a year from now, that's 5% above where it is today, which is 5% above where it was a year ago. Yeah, we now are in compounding territory, ladies and gentlemen. Put on your helmets, strap in your seatbelts, do not talk while the pilot takes off, because we are gonna start compounding at a rate that you cannot imagine. The big news this morning is that the inflation numbers were released for September. As we have been telling you nonstop since last year, inflation is not transitory. This is a 13-year high. The CPI, the Consumer Price Index, is as high as it was during the financial crisis. Absolutely insane. First, the tweet, US September consumer prices increased 5.4% from 1 year earlier. 5.4%. Is that crazy? Is it not? Well, let's look on a relative basis. If we look around the world at all of the different CPI numbers, their year over year percent change, what we find is that the US sucks. Simple. Just real simple. The US sucks. The only countries that are doing better from an inflation standpoint are Venezuela, Argentina, Turkey, Brazil, Russia, Mexico, and Poland. Today, the inflation numbers came out and we hit a 31-year high. This is absolutely historic, and it is frankly sad. Breaking. US inflation was up 6.2% in October from a year ago. The year-over-year change of consumer prices, according to the CPI index, is 6.2%, the official numbers. It's the highest inflation in 31 years. Inflation was up 0.9% in October alone, a much higher increase than 0.4% in September and 0.3% in August. Prices are rising for food, energy, shelter, used cars, and new cars. Absolutely bonkers what we are watching right now. We continue to see not only high inflation, not only persistently high inflation, but we are seeing accelerating inflation. It is getting worse. It is not getting better.
Well, let's start with this. Prices have gone up.
So do I think this bull run's gonna end? No. Do I think anybody's gonna go and want to keep putting their money into fiat? No. Do I think that it's gonna get really tough on a lot of people that are not already involved with crypto? I don't think all of these people, because every month that goes by, your money gets a little bit more tight, you can't figure out what you spending more. You're gonna have to start cutting down on what you eat. You're gonna have to start watching where you spend money on fast food. McDonald's a year ago was $5 for a number 2. Now I go to McDonald's, get the same number 2, it's 12 something or $13 the other day. I go into an airport to get McDonald's like 22 bucks. So like you guys can see everything going up. Gas is up, what, over 100% in the last year? My dad's old boss used to own an entire city. I mean, every apartment, condos, buildings, businesses. She raises her rent on both condos and apartments 2% every single month. So not your rent because you live there, you sign a year lease, right? But the people that are re-signing or signing up again, every month, 2%, 2%, 2%. When my parents first started moving in, they gave my parents an apartment in a condo for my dad, where my dad worked at or whatever, so he could be like on site or whatever. So they gave him an apartment. When they first gave it to him like 8 years ago, I want to say it was like $675, and now it's like over like $1,600 for a 2-bedroom apartment. They're not big either. They're a couple like small living room, like really small bedrooms. It's mind blowing. So this was kind of like the Vortex effect. And why I say it's gonna be so hard to disrupt Bitcoin is because it's that main consumer of energy. It's this, they get politicians involved. It's making people tons of money, right? Like they have mining, the spatial, and then the temporal layer. Like it's easy, frictionless to transport Bitcoin. Bitcoin is gold. Kadena is gonna be cash, and why it's gonna be so hard to disrupt that, because if you're a restaurant and you wanna disrupt a restaurant, right? You just need to come into the same town, put your restaurant next to theirs, and add superior value than the previous restaurant, and most likely you're gonna take their business. But if that restaurant is in a strip mall and you have oil change, gym, arcade, or maybe it's something different, like you have food, It's like same thing as why Walmart sells everything and not just food and not just clothes, because you want to be a multi-sided marketplace. If people aren't hungry, they're still going to need clothes. If they don't need clothes, maybe they're hungry. If they don't need clothes, they're not hungry, maybe they need like hygiene products. Maybe your kids want toys, like, right? Like that's why Walmart does great. That's why Amazon does great, because they sell everything. They are a ginormous marketplace because you add massive value. And to add all of that value, you can't do it with proof of stake blockchains because you're distributed, right? When Ethereum becomes proof of stake, if you want to change the protocol, you need a majority vote, and your voting power is based off the tokens that you hold. When Ethereum 2.0 switches, if Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk got together and they wanted to take over Ethereum 2.0 and change it into something completely effing different, no matter what you say or what you think or what you want to think, it's proof of stake. Your votes are cast by the amount of tokens you hold. If you hold that majority vote, and then guess what? It's Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. So if they link up, combine forces, and then start tweeting and telling everybody that they got these great plans, we just need a vote, they probably wouldn't even need to buy half the tokens. You guys see where I'm going with this? So what proof of stake blockchains do is it's like a pyramid scam, pretty much, for the most part. Like the rich get richer. Whoever got into Ethereum in the beginning, held their tokens, has all that voting power, bought the most, invested the most, or got in at the very, very beginning. Like those are the people that get to dictate what happens in the ecosystem. So it's like, it's great and all. I like proof of stake, but at the same time, I'm like, gosh, man, it's like such a pyramid scam. And that's why you see Michael Saylor going like, the SEC just said, guys, any proof of stake blockchain is gonna be a security. So that's why he's saying sell all your altcoins. Now Ethereum, he talks about it a little bit differently because he says it's an asset, not a security. Let's go, guys. You guys ready to have a good time today? Let's get it. Let's get it. So we talk about Ethereum. What happened to Ethereum? Why did Ethereum go from $130 to $4,400 in 600 days? Because that's when DeFi launched. That's when CryptoKitties launched over on Ethereum. And smart contracts really started getting put to the test. You started seeing NFT projects pop off. Why did Binance all of a sudden was at 23 for what, like 3 years? Even in the bear market, Binance did extremely well because smart contracts, you know, pancake swap, 920, Binance goes from 23 to 688. Solana went from 20 to 210 in 204 days, guys, 204 days. So we're going on what, like 60 days now since we found Kadena, 50 days since I started putting out videos on Kadena, about 50 something days now. And everything that I predicted was gonna play out has played out to the T because it's a layer one blockchain that's infinitely scalable. So why did Binance do it? It's not just because people believe in these projects, it's because how DeFi affects the growth of a cryptocurrency. I'm sure you guys have heard people say, we're doing on-chain analysis, like people are moving Ethereum off-chain, off exchanges into wallets, right? Like when you're taking money off exchanges, there's less money on exchanges for people to buy. So that drives the price up because in order to entice people to sell, and they have to have that market, right? Like these exchanges have to have that market. And if I was really smart, it's something with like the law of physics or Newton's law of motion. We'll just go with that one. I don't know what it actually is. I'm not that smart, guys. But it's basically like the law of supply and demand. The higher the price of an item, the more likely people are to sell it, the less likely people are to buy it. The lower the price of an item, the more likely people are to buy it, and the less likely people are to sell it. As price goes up, you're always going to entice people to sell. So if you have a bunch of people, me and you both have 50 Ethereum, and neither of us want to sell, but people are trying to buy it, in order to entice people to sell, they drive the price up. That's why when I say a market cap is not like, if Bitcoin has a $1.2 trillion market cap, that does not mean that there's $1.2 trillion invested in Bitcoin. That means that's the value of Bitcoin. But if everybody started to sell at the same time, there is no way all of those Bitcoin being sold would ever take 1.2 trillion out of the market. Not even close, probably less than 100 billion. If I had to guess, maybe 200 billion at best. So keep that in mind, guys. Like price can go up, but and that's how price goes up. It's when the market is more bullish. So as DeFi starts to pop, and I'm gonna teach you guys how to make these degenerate, disgusting, grimy, filthy, life-changing, degenerate gains in DeFi by yield farming, staking, and mining, and all of us start locking up all of our Kadena and pulling it off these exchanges, where do you guys think the price is going to go to? So just let this one sink in. You guys can press pause. I'd run through them, but 161 billion in DeFi, 27 billion in DeFi, 13 billion in DeFi, 10 billion in DeFi, 7 billion in DeFi, 5 billion in DeFi, guys. Those are big, big numbers. Polkadot got to $45 billion market cap. When homie was like he had, like I seen his video where he had like somebody sent me a screenshot. It was like me on his screen and he was talking about like how I was like shilling Kadena because I was calling for it to have a $90 billion market cap by 2030. That was my prediction, 90 billion by 2030. I don't want to shill these to you guys. I want to give you guys just realistic, even though I think it is going to be 90 billion by 2024, I aim low and price goes over it's great. Everybody wins. If I aim extremely high and people get over invested because I was showing something in the moon, not good. But you've seen Dogecoin get a market cap of 89 billion. So anybody that thinks Kadena's not gonna have a $90 billion market cap, I don't really know. Ripple, like being a centralized cryptocurrency, why would you let your money sit in Ripple right now and pray that they win the SEC lawsuit, pray that people wanna put their money into a centralized cryptocurrency, pay that banks wanna use XRP when there's no higher value proposition to using XRP over Kadena in any way, shape, or form. Now Cardano, love Cardano. I can't believe they lied to everybody about smart contracts, that they weren't really, like smart contracts weren't even usable. They never were gonna be usable on the date that they talked about. It was just, they just kept pushing it off and pushing it off so much. They called it smart contracts, said that they were gonna be like launching and everybody was gonna be able to do all these things and nobody could. And that's such a bummer, man. I feel so bad for people on Cardano. Now, I do think Cardano is doing great things. I think they're gonna change the world. I think they're gonna bring banking to a lot of sectors that don't have it. So like, am I like a Cardano hater? No, I just saw the opportunity to get involved in the next Ethereum. And that's all. I don't care what Solana does. I don't care if you guys wanna put your money in Solana. But let's check out this article from so in the next few hours, you're probably gonna watch me sell. I don't know how much I got over here on Solana that I'm actually yield farming because a lot of it's locked up. So I don't know if this is showing, yeah, like I got a ton of Star Atlas coins. They're just all locked up. So just like my liquid assets that I got over here, 5,000, probably got about 5,000 more. So I'm gonna sell. So you're gonna watch me sell about $10,000 worth of Solana tokens to put into Kadena. And this is why Solana Labs CEO, it doesn't really matter if the network goes down again. In September, the Solana blockchain was swamped by transactions and ended up going offline for 17 hours. Solana Labs CEO Anatoly Yakovenko says that is only the problem for those measuring in milliseconds. In September, the Solana network went offline after it was overwhelmed by hundreds of thousands of transactions per second. It remained down for 17 hours. The block spoke to Anatoly Yakovenko, CEO of Solana Labs and co-founder of Solana, in an interview at Solana Breaking Point in Lisbon. When asked, what are the chances the network goes down again, Yakovenko replied, I don't know. It really doesn't matter though. His argument went as follows. As long as there's at least one copy of the ledger, the funds are still safe and transactions eventually get processed. If you don't care how long a transaction takes to go through, then how much do you care that there's a 72-hour block? Yakovenko linked the downtime to a particularly long wait between blocks. He claimed that Solana didn't really go offline. There wasn't a confirmed block for that time period. So that technically does look like a 17-hour block if you look at the history. He pointed out that it is possible that Bitcoin could have a 2-hour period with no blocks, he said, but it's just never happened. If validators got really, really good at recovering those within an hour, it's the same thing. He also claimed that other blockchain platforms such as Bitcoin and Ethereum offer soft guarantees at transactions going through, particularly for those who don't have the funds to pay for the transaction fees. Right, and that's why Bitcoin is just gold. We just buy it, we don't interact with it. Ethereum, same way. Gas fees are so expensive, we just don't use it, right? People launching NFTs on Ethereum, why would you want to put that burden on your community? It's not scalable, the network's congested. If ETH 2.0 comes out, that's great, and I'm all about ETH 2.0. We've been waiting for it a long time, guys. It's just like, after you've been promised something, it's like, people think I'm like hating on Ethereum or we're selling out of Ethereum, and we've carried the burden of Ethereum. The entire community for the last 2 or 3 years has been carrying the burden of these overwhelmingly increasing gas fees. We've stayed positive, we've stayed supportive. We're all about Ethereum. We've been watching it grow and grow and grow, but it's just kind of getting to the point where okay guys, we support you, Ethereum. We love you. We want you to get it together, but please give us an honest date. If this isn't going to be something that's going to happen in a couple weeks or a couple months, just let us know. We'll come back to the network, but we shouldn't be forced to hold on to your coin and interact with your protocol when the gas prices are just that outrageous. It's nothing negative. It's just saying come on guys, you guys keep lying to us. You keep promising in that ETH 2.0, you guys have 1,000 engineers working to solve one problem. Solana built their entire blockchain. Flux built parallel assets. Kadena built Chainweb. In the time that it took Ethereum to try to figure out how to upgrade to 2.0, and it still hasn't happened. So it's nothing against Ethereum. It's just saying, guys, this is just business, man. As much as I love Ethereum, I'm not gonna not put a roof over my kid's head because Ethereum. The amount of money that they are causing you as the user to spend in these gas fees because they're not making this upgrade happen right now, and they're not going to do it during altcoin season. They're not going to do it during this bull run because too much is going to be at jeopardy. That's why, do you guys see when we were in the bear market this summer and all that news was coming out about the EIP, the ETH, they switched the burn, right? They're going to try to do these changes in the bear market because when the network is booming and everything's happening, to jeopardize losing everybody's funds and just devastating the whole market, I don't see them risking doing something like that. So that's why I keep saying as long as the market keeps going bullish like this, I don't see Ethereum 2.0 coming out because there's just too much to lose. Back to this article. But the downtime is a problem for people who need their transactions to be processed at high speed, which is everybody. Like that is why we use Solana, because it's high speed. We don't use Solana because we hope that it stays high speed, but Yakovenko acknowledged it matters for those people who care about delivering messages within 400 milliseconds. So in terms of safety, funds, in the state, it doesn't matter. In terms of real world applications, it does, he added. Yakovenko said that he couldn't assert that Solana would never go down again because it's hard to make such a guarantee under all circumstances and prove it. So you kind of saw the worst case of it, right? S hit the fan. They figured out how to continue, he told the block. But to say it'll never happen again, I don't know if that's even possible or a realistic way in any network. So again, all right, we know that Solana can't scale. We know that as soon as the next video game launches, as soon as the next big NFT launches, as soon as their network gets overwhelmed, which it already is, because we can tell by when you send a transaction in Solana, 400 milliseconds should be in your wallet, because that's how long it takes for a block. If it's not there in 400 milliseconds, that means it's in a mempool, it's waiting, and then it'll get put in the next block. So you're already seeing that network congestion. Check out these internet speeds. 500 down, when I come over here, and you guys can see 23 up. Then I got my Wi-Fi off. We're gonna run that speed test again. So I got 500 plus down, I got 25 plus up. When I come over here to Radium, and I go to liquidity and I approve the transaction, okay. Like you can see here, like I am waiting, guys. Like you see these things just spinning here. For me to come over and interact on Radium, it's like as soon as I get multiple transactions, like trying to do, making transactions, it's just like I'm waiting here. Like you can't bang, 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 bang over here anymore. And every once in a while you can. And it's not my internet, it's not, so I just don't know how else to better explain it besides like, so to think that Kadena is gonna have everything that Solana has times 10, to think that it could onboard every project that's built on top of Ethereum and they could all run flawlessly on top of Kadena with frictionless, right? Like it's pretty crazy. So as soon as we see like Polygon and these layer 2s start scaling over to Kadena and taking advantage of like the free gas fees, just imagine what all these blockchains have been able to do, you know, bridging to Ethereum and helping to lighten that load. Just imagine what's gonna happen when they can all be connected to Kadena. And then Kadena becomes that universal cryptocurrency that everybody interacts with because the gas fees are so cheap. And they're gonna always stay cheap because they're always able to add another chain. So we know that we have real world adoption, how much money we have in these markets, right? Like 11 trillion in gold, S&P's 37 trillion, Apple 2.5 trillion, crypto is only 2.5 trillion, and Bitcoin makes up 1.1 or 1.2 of that. Like there is so much money that's gonna come out of these other markets and come into crypto, ETFs getting approved. This is exciting times, guys. So everybody's like, when's the bull run gonna end? I'm like, how's it gonna end when fiat just keeps, you know, screwing us? And if we take a look at other coins, so when I was making these price predictions before, I didn't think Kadena was gonna get to $20 before DeFi. I didn't know that many people were gonna be able to see the advantages of Kadena and start putting up to like, you know, a $3 billion market cap. That's extremely good. And that took place, you know, big shout out to Crypto R Us, because he's the one. I didn't have enough subscribers to get that message out and help show people, right? Like I just, maybe a little tiny fraction of that, but it was Crypto R Us that really sent that message to the next level. And then now we've seen like quite a few other big influencers put videos out. We know that Coin Bureau is talking about it. He's made a few videos, but even in his videos, I was listening to him, like watching his TikTok and seeing how like negative he was about like big banks and they claim they're this, they claim they're that. No, they don't claim, buddy. They really are. Like you can try to make them look bad, but it was just funny. He's like, he sounded more hype when I was watching his TikToks about Shiba. He was like more optimistic about Shiba, and he was like keeping it like dead serious about Kadena. And I was like, is that because his biggest bag is ETH and this really is ETH 3.0? Like everybody's so hype about ETH 2.0, but even when ETH 2.0 launches, it's not even close to what Kadena could be. It's not even close to what Kadena is. And when I first talked to somebody about Kadena, they're like, if Ethereum were to create a 3.0, it would be Kadena. Maybe 2.0 comes out and then they immediately go from 2.0 to 3.0 and they end up building a chain web and coming into like Kadena. Or maybe they just decide that they can just connect ETH 2.0 to Kadena and it becomes the hub for like the most interoperable blockchain in the industry and everything revolves around Kadena. I don't know, it just seems like the smart, but we know BitBoy is getting hype about it. And this is where I was saying like the network effect was gonna take place. I'd make a video, and once a coin gets trending, that's what it's all about. It's not saying that I'm making a video and then everybody else is going to. It says, if I can make a video and Kadena starts trending, we are all YouTube creators. We all want to be making videos on good coins that are going to change people's lives, coins that are smart to invest in, not like Shiba's. Now, I don't know why BitBoy makes Shiba videos. I don't know why Coin Bureau does. I don't know why they talk in any way positive about a dog coin that's going to cause more single moms that know nothing about crypto but have the ability to buy Shiba because it's on Coinbase and it's easy, and they think that they're going to be the next person, that Shiba's going to go to a penny. So they go, oh, I see all these zeros if Shiba just goes to a penny, but they don't understand. It's like you're giving spotlight to just garbage projects. And I'm sorry guys, like Coin Bureau, I never thought you were going to do that. I never thought you'd go that like to make a video on Shiba. And it's just, I mean, I was the first one to make a video on Shiba, so I can't say anything either, but like I didn't know what like the meme coin thing was going to turn into this. I was telling people, if you bought a bar tab, don't go out to the bar, throw $100 at Shiba, throw it in a cold storage wallet, and don't look at it for 5 years, you know, kind of thing. Where BitBoy was like gassing it up when it was pumping. Coin Bureau was making videos on it because it was trending. Like I was the first one to make a video on Shiba, and I honestly, looking back, I wish I would have never did it. I'm almost embarrassed that I actually said anything positive about that coiner. I don't think I did. It just said it might be and it took off. But where I'm going with, like, we all are YouTube creators. We all want to make great videos on great coins. So when a coin like Kadena steps into the spotlight and starts trending, once that coin starts trending, it becomes a smart business play for these other YouTubers to make videos on it. Now, White Paper dude, we don't know about him, man. He's, you know, different. But if Michael Saylor decides to like Kadena, oh boy, we wouldn't need a White Paper. Let's just say that. So guys, this is just the network effect that's taken place. We've seen it. We've seen BitBoy dropping tweets. BitBoy's gonna be making a video this week on it. We know with just his audience alone, when they're all watching BitBoy buy Kadena, if he's not already, and his wallet addresses are public. So keep your eye on BitBoy wallets. Watch, because once he deploys his army, because he's building that Get Money gang, which is like just the network, like he's helping YouTube creators become, he's helping new people in the crypto space become YouTubers. Like he's kind of trying to like control this media ring. And what that's going to do is, it's like how the news right now controls politicians, right? When all the news media outlets are all talking about the right politician, you can kind of dictate where that election is going to go. BitBoy is building that army of YouTube influencers so that when he wants to push the market in any direction, because he can't do it by himself, and you can see how much he hates on Elon Musk, right? Like absolutely despises the guy. Short Tesla, telling people all this. He's building an army because I think he's jealous that Elon Musk has more clout and more push in the crypto space than BitBoy does. So you see him building this army of network of influencers so that, in my personal opinion, that they can manipulate the market. And that's a good thing if he's going to be making videos on Kadena, because you're going to get that network, that Get Money gang. Their Get Money gang is gonna get us money. Get it, gang? I'm about that Get Money gang. So yeah, it's just like when you have this network effect and you have such a great cryptocurrency and it adds such superior value proposition, this is where I look at Michael Saylor and how Michael Saylor is going to go down as the next Warren Buffett, the smartest investor in history. Because he's seen the internet, right? He's seen what the internet was gonna do. Bet on Google. Why? Because it was the fastest, the smartest, the strongest, the hardest tech in the game. And it added that much superior value proposition to every other search engine in the game.
Technologies that are dominating today, they're dominating because they're able to deliver force faster, harder, stronger, smarter. Like if you're going to dominate, how do you deliver force harder, faster, stronger, smarter? I could think of 100 examples in history, and you tend to see those things. So if it's got the characteristic that it can be made harder, it can be made smarter, it can be made stronger, it can be made faster, there's something compelling about it. That's why digital gold is thousands of times better than gold, because you've got all those dimensions to work on. That's why the natural creature, gold is a rock, a bear is a bear, a mastodon is a mastodon. They're not getting harder, faster, stronger, smarter. They're just doing what they do. Human beings are, but only because of innovation.
Went all in on Google in the beginning. Then internet started to blow up. Social media started to blow up, and what did he see? He saw Facebook, and what did Facebook do? It added that dominating tech superior to MySpace everywhere, right? And then it had the ability, and I forget what he calls it, it's like 5 to $1, 5 cents to $1. They could spend 5 cents and they were getting back $1. So I think it's like 5 to 95, whatever that ratio is or whatever he calls it. But basically you find businesses that can acquire 100% of consumer information for 5% of the cost. When you have a tech that's able to do that, you go all in on it. So we went all in on Facebook, went all in on Apple. Why? Because Apple and the computer industry was taking that customer service, that quality, the product, the no viruses, the ease of use, the onboarding of new clients, and building products like a Windows desktop or a Windows laptop, like an HP you get at Walmart, you know, 200, 500 bucks. That thing is so filled with viruses. It's slow, it's clogged down. I get the cheapest Mac, which is like a Mac Mini. I bought the cheapest one in 2014 until 2019. I was still using it. Never noticed the problem until I get into like editing videos. And like 6 years later, like the size of videos grows so fast that the tech, you know, degrades, but you just need more space. But as far as just overall quality performance, like for what it did then. So where I'm going with that is you just see Kadena, right? For the last 15 years, every single blockchain that's came out, 15 different thousand blockchains since Bitcoin, have been trying to figure out the blockchain trilemma. How do we scale infinitely? How do we stay secure? And how do we do it fast enough to interact in real time? And Kadena's figured it out, guys. And in order to do that, they had to write their own coding language. So all these other ERC20 blockchains out there, all written Solidity. They may be the fastest, they may be this, they may be that, but they're not the most secure. And that's where Kadena is. To onboard banks, you need code that bankers can read, right? To onboard governments, you need code that governments can read. You can't expect the government to trust just one engineer, 50 engineers to analyze code, because if they're all wrong, and that's why Polygon got hacked like 15 times this summer. Like all these blockchains, Compound got hacked, like everything you see getting hacked out there because they're all written in Solidity. And it's so hard to analyze that code because it's in computer readable code. And it's so hard to reverse engineer that and actually backtest it, where Pact is human readable. And when you go to program something, it tells you where your error is. So if there's an error in the code, it automatically shows you that code. And then to mention that, right? Like Bitcoin, to be involved in mining Bitcoin, you have to be a part of a pool or you cannot solo mine Bitcoin. They just found out because of some weird law of like physics or economics or whatever that proof of work actually does, that for whatever reason with Kadena's and their algorithm is different than Bitcoin's, they can actually solo mine. And they just did it. They did a solo miner versus a pool miner. And they started them at the same time, ran for the same time, and they were really, really freaking close to making the same amount of money. That makes Kadena the most decentralized mineable cryptocurrency in the entire industry. Because single point of failure, you want to attack a Bitcoin mining rig, you want to attack the network, you attack a pool. Shut down the pool, you shut down all those miners that are mining on that pool. Where Kadena, you would have to literally attack every single miner that's solo mining. So if I'm trying to get a deal worked out with Box Miners, I forget the name of the company, Godshell or whatever. There's several different ones for miners on Kadena. So if they're watching this video and their team wants to come onto the show and market and develop like an ongoing relationship for constant marketing over the next, X amount of years, I would love to have them on the show, but I just would request that they would hold on their next batch of miners, X amount of miners from my community. So if they're willing to work out some type of deal with me, it's like, I mean, heck, I'll take a miner too and I'll start mining Kadena with them too and make videos for the next 5 years on it. So if any Kadena mining companies watching this, I know a ton of people that are going to be watching this video want Kadena miners, and I want to help grow that part of the network because it's all about securing the network at the end of the day.
It's again, we have the sort of epistemic closure in the form of, everybody jumping onto MMT theories or, theories that you can print as much money as you want to, there will never be inflation, at, of course, precisely the moment when they're wrong, precisely the moment when no dissent is allowed. I think one of my sort of incredibly big misses of the last decade, I did some, but not as much as I should have, was not buying enough Bitcoin, not buying enough crypto. But surely what it is telling us is that we are at a crisis moment for the Fed. It is a canary in the coal mine. It is the crypto market is the pure money market, and it is telling us that the epistemically closed bubble around fiat money in the US is heading towards some crisis point. The Wizard of Oz is always this metaphor on Fed, on central banking, and I've sort of thought that maybe we're close to a Toto moment in the Fed where the little dog is pulling the curtain aside from, the Holy of Holies, and you realize that there's nobody there, nothing's really going on. We've had sort of these preliminary questions about the nature of the stock trading and things like this, and without going into the details of that, when you start asking these questions, the institution is in trouble. It is so over its limb, so out on a limb, and so much at a point where something is going to break. And again,
what does that mean for my price predictions? What are my price predictions for Kadena? Because I personally didn't think Kadena was going to get here to the point it did before DeFi started popping. So let's dive into that. And this is exactly why I would never take a penny from Kadena. Like, you guys remember when I was doing work with Crow, they were sponsoring videos. I mean, they were only sponsoring like a certain amount of videos, but it was just one video. I was live streaming on my own time and like talking about like Crow and where I thought Crow was going. And my phone was going off. Like, they were like, their members were in my stream like, hey man, like make sure you tell them that this video is not sponsored by Crow. And I was like, what? I think we got things off on the wrong foot. Let's get one thing straight. I don't work for you, right? I might make some sponsored videos for you guys, but if you think you're gonna come onto my show and tell me how I can talk and what I can say about your project because you're giving me a couple $100, no. Let's get this thing straight. I'm not gonna sacrifice the growth of my channel and not be able to talk about price and not be able to make price predictions and not just be able to just say some random off the wall shit because I'm sponsored by you guys. Or if you guys do something wrong and that I don't agree with, now I have to feel like I can't say anything about it because you sponsor something. No. If Kadena starts dropping the ball, I'll keep it real, guys. I don't see them ever doing that, but if they do, you guys know it's not, I'm not gonna not say anything because I'm sponsored by them. Get out of here with that garbage. This was my strategy. And I was saying that, hey guys, if you can accumulate 3,520 coins of Kadena, time Kadena hits $100, you would have $350,000. Kadena hits $200, you have 700,000. If Kadena hits $300, you have $1,056,000. So you become a millionaire when Kadena hits 300 if you're able to accumulate 3,520 tokens. Now, why I use Chainweaver and not Cellcore is because I can actually see and verify that I own every chain. So you guys can see just over here, just in this Chainweaver wallet, right? I have 11,469 coins Kadena. Everybody's like, you got one crypto wallet. Why would you put all of your coins into one crypto wallet? Like, this is the most that I'm gonna have in one wallet, right? 11,469, start another wallet. Get 2 Chainweaver wallets. Get a Cellcore wallet. I still got, unfortunately, quite a bit of money over on KuCoin, probably like $60,000 to $75,000. Personally, I want to know that I own the chain, right? Like, this lets me know right here, owner of this chain. That's what we don't have in Cellcore. I know the K address thing works, but I want to make sure that I am the owner of the chain. So you can see what I did is you can now send it to the K address, and they kind of had that thing, but I wasn't sure about it. So I just literally sent 0.001 from, like, I sent from KuCoin to my Chainweaver, add to chain 1. I knew I owned it, I could see it. And then I just took and sent 0.001 to chain 2. And then that made sure that since I was the first person to send a transaction to that other chain, it made sure that I was the owner. Now I could have just said send 0.001 to the K address, and it would have made sure that I owned every chain. And it would have made sure that any future chains I own. So when they scale up to 40 chains, or when they scale up to 50 next and then do 100, you'll still own all of them because you sent the K address. So obviously I'll probably send a K address, and I'm actually gonna test that out on my second wallet and do the same thing. But it's all about just, never put all of your eggs into one basket, man. My goal is to have 15,000 coins of Kadena, and I'm getting close. So I just keep buying more and more every chance I get. And you're gonna see me buy another 10,000 worth. You're gonna see me buy another probably 10,000 worth. I probably will buy another $20,000 worth of Kadena if I can get it in and get everything good. I'm just so busy, and I got Miami coming up, so I'm really trying to just bang out these videos and get them kind of out there. So you'll probably see me make a couple more videos on Kadena coming out over the next couple weeks. So we know that, like, a $30 billion market cap would mean that Kadena would be $200. So I definitely think that's realistic by 2024. I think it's actually realistic by 2022. I think that just easy a 10x from its current market cap when DeFi pops off, exchange listings pop off, and we see BitBoy and Coin Bureau. And then once Kadena really starts to run up and people start dropping NFT launches, and anybody that's building on top of Kadena, like, hit me up, let's talk. Like, let's get you guys on the show. Let's get your name out there. Let's help you market. Let's help grow this community and ecosystem. And that's what it's all about. Like, once the rest of the world really sees how easy it is to build on Kadena, because that they can program in Pact and it's human readable code, we already know what we need on Kadena. We need everything that's been crushing it on Ethereum, right? We need borrowing, lending, all of these things that really took Ethereum to the next level. We need to see that get built on Kadena. So once one company comes over here and builds, and they have a team and they realize how fast and easy it is, I have a feeling that they're just gonna deploy teams, they're just gonna put together the resources and just build out infrastructure on Kadena. And I think it's gonna be one of the fastest growing and evolving ecosystems in crypto history. I think it's gonna blow Solana out of the water. I think the next big game launch that breaks Solana, you're gonna see people go, okay, they heard this video, they heard what I was saying. They're gonna realize that that's the truth. Like, you can't have a blockchain that just stops. Kadena, when I interviewed Will and asked Will, like, what happens if, like, would Kadena ever stop? He's like, if Kadena stopped, I wouldn't know how to just stop it and turn it back on. And like, you need a centralized point, but because all the miners are spread so far out, like, it's just not something that can easily be done. It's gonna be very interesting, guys. I think my price predictions for Kadena by 2023, $200, by 2024, $400, by 2030, $2,000, if not higher. And I actually think we'll see over a $600 billion market cap by 2030. And that will double the amount of coins in circulation by 2030. If you guys wanna go figure out. So maybe I overestimate, maybe it's 1,500. But those are my realistic price predictions for Kadena moving forward. I was saying, last time I made this video, I was saying $60 by 2022 with a $9 billion market cap. So by the end of 2022, I was saying $9 billion market cap. And that's what that dude with the white paper called me out on, saying I was shilling. Bro, come on, we're already at 3 billion. It only has to 3x. You think Dogecoin can have an $89 billion market cap and Kadena's only gonna, like, I'm shilling because I'm saying 9 billion by 2022? And the best part about Kadena right now, right? From when I first started making these videos, how many more people have came into the Kadena army? Even if you overpaid and you bought 28. I mean, I paid 22 the other day and bought 14,000. What, do I care it's 19? No. Do I wish I would have waited and bought it 19? Yeah, but it could have easily went up to 28, 40. One exchange listing, Binance launches this coin, 2x's. gosh forbid, Coinbase launches this coin, oh my gosh. And I almost think that Coinbase times it out for when the market's really bullish. And it's coins like these, like we saw with Shiba, how they did that. Right at the peak of altcoin season, magically, Shiba gets launched on Binance, right? So I almost feel like these exchanges, they've watched KuCoin get a majority of it. And I'm pretty sure that these exchanges want to get Kadena launched before DeFi pop. Because if they don't, we can run all this through KDA and through DeFi, and we don't even need Coinbase or Binance to list. So everybody's like, oh, when's the next exchange listing? When's the next exchange listing? It doesn't matter. Once DeFi pops, these exchanges are becoming irrelevant to me. They just add the ability for people that don't want to get in DeFi and don't have any idea what they're doing just to download an app on their cell phone and buy Kadena. So it's smart that they still get launched on Coinbase because it will add superior value. But if they don't do it before DeFi pops, it doesn't really matter. Like, that's not what excites me. DeFi is what excites me. Locking up all this Kadena, teaching you guys how to use your Kadena, stack it, and gain it. And since the first time I started making these videos, the network has grown so much that when Kadena makes this next push up, guys, Twitter is going to go in effing insane. So if you're not following Kadena, you're not following KDA on Twitter, you're not following, Will, Martino, Stuart Popejoy, Doug, like all of the major influential people, getting a part of this community, reaching out, chatting with them while they still can, because like you think Vitalik's hard to get a hold of, you think that Gavin Woods is hard to get a hold of. Imagine if Kadena becomes the cash of crypto. Satoshi set out to make Bitcoin digital cash, but he didn't quite make it there because the tech just wasn't advanced enough. So it became digital gold, which is great. It's a great store of value. But as far as being cash, something that you could interact with easily without doing taproot upgrades and trying to modify this and just right off the box, right off the rip, ready to go, could onboard every project in the ecosystem. Let's go, guys. So when we see Kadena break that $30 mark, let's blow Twitter up, guys. Let's take over Twitter. Let's keep Kadena trending at #1 all the way up to a $90 billion market cap. What do you guys say? Love you guys. Join the squad. Don't miss out on this opportunity of a lifetime. Game-changing wealth, never financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I would never advise that you buy, sell, trade, or hodl any cryptocurrency. And half the time, guys, I have no clue what I'm talking about. So maybe this plays out this way, maybe it doesn't. This is just how I've seen other markets play out. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know that, China holds, 1% of Bitcoin in circulation, and an upsell like that could take Bitcoin down by 10, 15, 20%, and it'll crash the entire market down. I don't know that Tether FUD's not going to come out and disrupt the market and tank everything. I don't know that Evergrade's not going to default on their loans. I don't know that hyperinflation's not going to set in and people aren't going to be able to afford to buy any more crypto because they just don't have any extra money and they're living paycheck to paycheck. So there's a lot of things that could come into play that could take us not into a bear market, because once those inflation, those things happen, it's going to drive so much money into the crypto space. It's going to be unbelievable. So I think that the Tether FUD is such a big thing that I would assume that people at Binance and other places that are super heavily dependent on crypto are probably like, hey, Tether, if you're not backed 100% by US dollars, you need to be. So let's make that happen. We got to make sure that Tether's, if they get investigated, that even if there was some shady stuff going on, that as of today, all Tether is 100% backed by US dollars or close to it. If they got fined and they already know that it's only 50%, cool. We just got to make sure that it stays there, and hopefully that it's not anything to do with Evergrade. And if it is, then we're going to need to see Binance, we're going to need to see Crypto.com, like these companies that are throwing these hundreds of billions of dollars to buy stadiums and buy taxi cabs and all these things. In order to keep the market safe, they need to step in and secure it, just like Sam Bankman-Fried does. When anything happens bad with Solana, he just buys up all the Solana and then he slowly puts it back in the market and gets his money back out. He doesn't let Solana dump. He just buys it all up when anything goes bad. So hopefully Binance and these other big players in Crypto.com are going to do the same thing, since they're letting people use US Tether on their exchange. It's only right? If you're letting people use Tether on your exchange, that means that you should be, dealing with the ramifications when Tether turns out to be a total, FUD. But don't know. It's my opinion, guys. I love you guys. Have a great day. Peace.